Everything you've been told about car reliability lately is a total lie designed to get you into a $700 a month car payment for a piece of disposable junk. After 20 years of turning wrenches in the trenches, I can tell you that the average new car isn't built to last. It's built to survive the lease. But if you know how to read a spec sheet like a grease monkey, there's a secret category of vehicles. Cars that everyone ignores because they aren't sexy, that will hit 300,000 miles while you laugh all the way to the bank. I'm talking about engines that have been driven over 1 million miles in taxi fleets without a rebuild, and cars so over-engineered that a $10 plastic elbow is the only thing standing between you and mechanical immortality. Today, we are counting down 3 specific models that have earned legendary status in every shop I've ever worked in. Wait until you see entry number 2. That one is a vehicle so tough that police departments and taxi livery companies refuse to give them up for decades, and for good reason. I'll also show you a $35 part later in this video that prevents 90% of failures on our third entry. But first, you need to understand mechanics math, the reason why iron blocks outlast aluminum fancy tech almost every time. Entry number 3, the Scion XB. Number 3 is a car that looks like a literal toaster but runs like a Swiss watch. Most people overlook the first-gen Scion XB because it looks like a kid's toy, but as a technician, when I see one roll into the bay, I know the owner is one of the smartest people on the road. Just last month, a customer brought in an '06 with 210,000 miles. He thought he needed a new engine because of a rough idle and a check engine light. I did an LOFR, lube, oil, filter, rotation, and found the real culprit. It wasn't the engine, it was a clogged microscreen in the VVT system. Total cost for him? Less than $150. These things are built on the Yaris platform, and I've seen delivery fleets with these crossing 500,000 miles on the original transmission. The secret sauce is the 1.5-liter 1NZFE engine. This isn't like the second-gen XB that has those notorious oil-burning issues due to the 2.4-liter 2AZFE engine. The first gen is a naturally aspirated, offset crankshaft masterpiece designed for low friction. It uses a heavy-duty timing chain instead of a rubber belt, meaning as long as you keep the oil clean, the valve train will likely outlive you. The main failure point is the variable valve timing (VVT) solenoid. If you skip oil changes, the solenoid screen clogs, the engine starts hesitating, and your gas mileage drops from 30 miles per gallon to the mid-20s. A shop might quote you $350 to $400 for this, but the part itself is only about $90. Here is your 30-second inspection tip. Unscrew the oil cap and look inside. If the camshafts have a clean, golden brown hue, you've found a winner. If it looks like a soup sandwich in there, dark, crusty, or sludgy, the VVT system is likely already shot. Also, check the rear hatch handle. It's plastic and breaks if you look at it wrong, but there's a $40 metal reinforcement kit that fixes it forever. My verdict: buy a 2006 manual if you can find it. It's a Toyota quality build at a 40% discount because of the boxy stigma. Now, that was the small one. But if you want a car that can survive a literal fender bender with a brick wall and still make it to a 400,000-mile retirement, you need to see entry number 2. Entry number 2, the Ford Panther platform, 1992 to 2011. Entry number 2 is the Iron Dinosaur, the Mercury Grand Marquis and its siblings, the Ford Crown Victoria and Lincoln Town Car. This platform is the last of the heavy-duty, body-on-frame sedans. It wasn't engineered for commuters, it was engineered for the Panther Mafia, the taxi and police fleets that put 100,000 miles a year on a car. I have a regular who brings in a 1997 Marquis. It's got 350,000 miles and still drives like it just left the showroom. I've seen town cars hit the 1 million mile mark in livery service. But because they are overbuilt. The frame is about the thickness of a baseball bat. You can pull the entire body off the frame without compromising the car's rigidity. The heart of this beast is the modular 4.6-liter 2-valve V8. It's a low-revving, low-stressed engine. Unlike the 3-valve version found in later F-150s that had cam phaser nightmares, the 2-valve is just a hammer that keeps hitting. It's got Duralumon-style dished pistons and a massive Ford 8.8-inch solid rear axle that you'd normally find in a truck. The Achilles heel here is the plastic intake manifold crossover. Around 100,000 miles, the plastic cracks at the front coolant passage. If you catch it early, it's a $300 part. If you ignore it, you'll overheat, blow the head gaskets, and then you're looking at a $3,000 replacement. Also, watch for the fuel pump. It's a $1,200 to $1,500 job at a dealer because of the labor involved in dropping the tank on later models. Critical safety tip: for pre-2002 models, there is a tab on the rear stabilizer bar, U-bracket, that can puncture the gas tank in a high-speed rear-end collision. Ford has a safety shield kit for this, but most private owners never got it. Check your VIN for recalls and look for that shield. If you don't have it, any local shop can grind that tab down for you in 20 minutes. Mechanic math: you will spend more on gas, expect 17 miles per gallon in the city, than you will on repairs over its lifetime. If you want a comfortable, long-lasting tank, this is it. Alright, we've covered the toaster and the tank, but the number one spot goes to the grandma car that hides one of the most indestructible iron blocks ever forged. Entry number 1, the Buick LeSabre 3800 Series 2. Number 1 on this list? The Buick LeSabre with the 3800 Series 2 V6. This car almost got me into a fist fight with a customer who didn't believe me when I told him his 250,000-mile Buick was in better shape than his son's 3-year-old BMW. I once saw a 3800 that drove into the bay under its own power with 5-fingered pistons, literally holes in the block, and it was still running. Another one bent 4 rods from a hydrolock when a bad mechanic flushed the coolant wrong, and the car still limped onto the flatbed for the junkyard. That engine simply refuses to die. It's the closest thing to a bulletproof design GM ever built. The 3800 architecture dates back to the early 60s. It's a 90-degree iron block with iron heads. No overhead cams, no timing chains with plastic guides that snap, no variable valve timing on the Series 2. It's a pushrod engine, which means it's mechanically simple. The Series 3, 2004 Plus, added an aluminum intake manifold, but the Series 2 is the one you see everywhere with 300,000 miles. The death trap on the 3800 is the $10 plastic coolant elbows. They bridge the intake and the alternator bracket. They become brittle, shatter, and dump all your coolant in seconds. If you catch it, it's a $10 fix. If you don't, you'll cook the heads. Also, the lower intake manifold, LIM, gaskets are made of plastic and get eaten by Dexcool. Replacing them with metal-framed Felpro gaskets is a mandatory $500 to $800 investment that buys you another 200,000 miles. Check the plastic upper intake manifold plenum. Look near the EGR tube. If you see charring or melting, the plenum is warping and about to cause a massive vacuum leak or a coolant-fed fire. Replace it with the reinforced Dorman version that has a metal sleeve. The 3800 is the Corolla of American engines. It's unsexy, it's in janky W-body cars, but the drivetrain will outlast the chassis every time. The mechanic's chemistry, fluid maintenance. Longevity isn't just about the car, it's about the LOF, lube, oil, filter. For these high-mileage legends, use full synthetic high-mileage oil every 5,000 miles. It has seal-swelling esters that recondition those old rubber gaskets. Never flush a 200,000-mile transmission. The sediment in the fluid is often what's providing the friction for the clutches. If you flush it, you dislodge that sludge. It clogs the valve body and your bahika. Bend over, here it comes again. Just do a drain and fill. Change it every 30,000 miles or 2 years. The 100,000-mile estimate on the jug is a dud. It's what leads to those intake gaskets failing in the first place. So those are the 3 legends that have earned their place in every shop I've ever worked in. You now know more about what actually lasts than 90% of the car buyers walking onto a lot this weekend. Next time someone tries to sell you on a $50,000 lease because of reliability, you'll know what that word actually means. If this kind of straight talk helped you out, hit that subscribe button. I've got more videos coming that the dealership managers definitely don't want you to see. Now, if you want to know the cars you should absolutely avoid, the ones I won't even work on because they're FUBAR from the factory, I made a whole video on that. It's right here. That's 20 years of experience talking. Take it or leave it. I'll see you in the next one.